Amanda, and today I'm going to talk about something that's really important to be aware of. And these are 6 parental resistances that come up oftentimes when we take a look at what we want for our child's best health and happiness, or for our family to move in a direction that is something that we're really admiring and desiring for our future. But we find that it's hard to get there, right? There's something some obstacle getting in the way, or something slowing down our progress. These parental resistances are things that are common to everyone, and they come up in different ways at different times. But being aware of them is the first step to finding ways to overcome them, and then be able to move in the direction that you're looking for. So parental resistance number 1 is analysis paralysis, or perfection paralysis, or sometimes logistics paralysis. It's when we have all of a sudden a lot of questions. I'm going to talk about this in the scope of deciding whether or not making an investment in a coaching program and an option to really help move your child's health and happiness forward is something that's a right fit for you. So you may have questions come up like, oh, I'm not sure if this is the best time based on our schedule and other commitments that we have, or what if our scenario is different than what you described? I'm not sure if this scenario is going to be the best fit, or if we're a different case. All of these questions raise they're obstacles. And when a lot of questions come up, that is something to be aware of. That is usually a type of analysis paralysis slowing you down and preventing you from then taking steps into a future that you would like to have. The second resistance point is money paralysis. Can we afford this? Is this going to be a good return on investment? So when we have those type of obstacles coming up, it's important to recognize that, first of all, the money already exists. It's just a matter of reallocating and redistributing money that we are going to spend for our child's best health and best happiness. And when I say that, the money already exists. It sometimes is, people are like, well, what do you mean? I don't know that it exists, that I have extra money to set aside and invest in a program. But the reality is, we spend money every single day for our children. And when we stop to think about what we're spending our money on and how we're prioritizing, it's really just simply a matter of clearly defining what goals we want to achieve and then how we're going to achieve those goals. So around money, we've had clients that have been able to stop and reflect and reallocate resources in a different way. Maybe they have chosen to sell their strollers and old baby clothes and toys and stuff, and then all of a sudden that money that has already existed is now in their bank account to utilize for a different investment. Other examples are people that have decided, you know what, we're going to stick with the house travel soccer team this year instead of paying the additional expense to go to the travel league and all of the extra effort and energy and cost that's associated with that, because we want to prioritize something different for our child in a different way. Another example is choosing to forego maybe a session or 2 of gymnastics and tumbling classes, because again, it's a matter of that money exists. We are spending money every single day for our children's best health and happiness. It's a matter of just reallocating resources. So be aware of that resistance point number 2, money paralysis. The third resistance points that comes up is when we're being ruled by rules. A lot of times we may have certain rules about when we're able to invest in something, or rules about the timing of something, right? So maybe I only invest in one thing at a time, or I'll only complete this and then be ready to move forward with a different experience or a different opportunity. Maybe it's when we're working with this specialist or this therapist, we're not going to want to get distracted and do something else. Whatever rules that you have about what works best for you or for your child, be aware of that. Oftentimes can be some type of resistance, some type of obstacle that's slowing down our progress and not allowing us to get to the end result of where we want to be as fast as we could, or in the manner that is best suited for us. The fourth resistance point that often comes up, and this is a big one, is giving away the decision-making power to someone else. And quite often I talk to moms all the time that tell me, I have to check with my spouse. I don't know how my husband's going to feel about trying to do some of these programs or these services, these trainings that we're talking about. And candidly, I'm going to tell us it is important for us to stop and take a look at the person that's going to be on the receiving end of that conversation, because most oftentimes, 9 times out of 10, they were not present when the opportunity and all of the information was presented. So it's like they're getting hit over the head with some information that they don't even know what's going on or what's involved. And there's nothing more altering or stopping than the fear of uncertainty. Whenever anyone is faced with something that we don't know what's going to happen and we don't know what this is for, or we don't know all of the logistics, any type of uncertainty, that is going to stop you dead in your tracks. So when we approach our spouse or significant other with an opportunity and we don't have complete conviction and confidence and certainty in our ability to say this is what we want and this is why we are doing this, there's no wonder that they're skeptical about it or that they're going to push back and be unsupportive in a way. And the reason is because, again, that uncertainty is crept in. So it is our job to discover and to clearly define what it is that's going to be a good investment for our child's best health and happiness. And remember, you don't ever have to sheepishly ask for the permission to invest in your child's best health. Rather, reframe it and simply inform your spouse or your partner that you are doing this and here's why. And when you can do that with conviction and confidence, it's just a whole different energy behind it. The person receiving that message then is able to build upon that confidence and see the inspiration of how this is going to be a good experience. And it changes the whole dynamic. So resistance point number 5 that often comes up is self-doubt, right? Can I do this? Can I be successful at this? What if I try and I don't succeed, or I've done something similar in the past and it hasn't worked out? And that is a big one. So when we come up with that self-doubt, I would ask you to take a look at this exercise that is so helpful called the Groundhog Day Exercise. And this is where you write down, what did I do previously? What worked? And what didn't work, and be very specific and very clear with yourself about what worked well and what didn't work, and then write out what would you do differently in the future. Make some non-negotiable items that you're aware of that you will not skimp on, you will not bypass, you will not repeat the same mistake. That's the only way to progress and to move forward in your future, is to take the time to reflect, do that Groundhog Day exercise, and then discover your new non-negotiables, right? How are you going to move forward in a different way in the future? And once you do that, it's handled. You know that you're going to be successful in a different route. And then finally, that 6th resistance point that can creep up and come in whenever we're looking at something, especially if it's a new territory, is believing that you can do it on your own. So many times we think, you know what, I just need the information and now I have the knowledge and I can just go with it. And the reality is, knowledge is power, but it's only as powerful as the community or the village that you surround yourself with. Because we all get pushed. When we're outside of our comfort zone, we're all going to get pushed and want to take those steps back. As human beings, we are wired for connection, and I believe that's because we help support each other, lift each other, and hold each other accountable. I mean, ask yourself candidly, when you have things in your life that get tough, do you have someone that loves you enough to provide that tough love and support and say, you know, I see you. I see that you wanted to move in this direction, or you were making progress in this direction, and now you're kind of stepping back because it's becoming a little edgy for you. It's a little uncomfortable. If you don't have somebody that's providing that accountability and kind of loving you enough, tough love, to really help you to continue to step forward, it's very easy to stay where we are today in our comfort zone. But when we can take one little baby step into a new direction, it's going to be a little edgy sometimes. And we need that connection, that community to support us and to continue to be there and to hear us out when things are rough so that we can move forward and progress in a new direction. So those are the 6 resistance points. Again, parental resistant things, especially when it comes to something so important like the health and happiness of your child, just to be aware of those and see if and when any of those are presenting themselves in your life and they're slowing down your direction for where you want to go in the future. Be mindful of that and find ways that you can look a little bit closer to overcome those, and you will be so happy with where you end up. Thanks.